The sun was already high in the sky when 8-year-old Lily dragged a rickety wooden chair out to the edge of her family's driveway. Her tiny hands gripped a large cardboard sign she had carefully painted the night before. In bright yellow letters, it read, "Lemonade for Chemo, help me fight cancer." The words were surrounded by hand-drawn smiley faces and hearts, each stroke of paint a labor of hope and determination. Lily was not an ordinary 8-year-old. Diagnosed with leukemia 6 months earlier, her life had taken a sharp turn from playgrounds and birthday parties to hospital beds and 4 drips. Despite her fragile frame and the scarf covering her bald head, her spirit remained unbroken. Her family, however, was struggling. Between medical bills, her father's reduced work hours to care for her, and mounting household expenses, the financial burden was suffocating. Lily had overheard her parents whispering late one night, their voices heavy with worry about how they would afford her next round of chemotherapy. That was when Lily decided she wanted to help. "I'll sell lemonade," she had exclaimed the next morning, her wide brown eyes sparkling with the innocence of a child who believed anything was possible. Her parents had exchanged skeptical glances but didn't have the heart to discourage her. If nothing else, it would keep her mind occupied, they thought. And so, with her mother's help, Lily had spent the following days preparing. She made a colorful sign, collected jars for change, and convinced her father to help her build a small wooden stand using leftover planks from the garage. On the first day of her lemonade stand venture, the weather was perfect, clear skies with just enough of a breeze to keep things comfortable. Lily, dressed in a bright yellow dress that matched her sign, arranged her setup meticulously. There was a glass pitcher filled with her homemade lemonade, which she had carefully squeezed from fresh lemons, and a stack of paper cups. A small jar labeled "Donations" sat prominently at the edge of the table. The first few hours were slow. Most people driving by either didn't notice the stand or were in too much of a hurry to stop. Lily's excitement began to wane as car after car zoomed past without even a glance. But just as her spirits started to dip, a kind elderly woman stopped by. She stepped out of her car, leaning on a cane, and made her way over to the stand. "Well, aren't you just the cutest little entrepreneur?" the woman said, her wrinkled face breaking into a warm smile. "How much for a cup of lemonade? 50 cents? Lily replied shyly, her cheeks flushing with excitement. The woman handed her a crisp $5 bill and said, "Keep the change, sweetie. You're doing a wonderful thing here. Stay strong. Okay?" That small interaction was all Lily needed to reignite her hope. Over the next few hours, a handful of other customers stopped by, each leaving words of encouragement along with their money. Some even donated without taking any lemonade, moved by the sight of the little girl's unwavering determination. A few neighbors came by, offering hugs and promises to spread the word. As the day wore on, Lily began to feel the toll of standing outside in the heat. Her legs ached, and she had to sit down every few minutes to catch her breath. But whenever she looked at the growing pile of bills and coins in the donation jar, she felt a surge of energy. This wasn't just about the money. It was about proving to herself and everyone else that she could make a difference, no matter how small. By late afternoon, a local reporter happened to drive by and noticed the stand. Intrigued, he stopped to ask Lily a few questions. Her mother, who had been watching from the house, came out to join the conversation. The reporter learned about Lily's battle with cancer, her family's financial struggles, and her decision to sell lemonade to help cover the costs of her treatment. He was deeply moved and asked if he could feature her story on the local news. "Really? You want to tell my story?" Lily asked, her eyes wide with surprise. "Absolutely," the reporter replied with a smile. "The world needs to hear about your bravery." That evening, Lily's story aired on the local news station. The segment featured clips of her at the lemonade stand, smiling as she poured drinks for customers. The reporter described her resilience and the overwhelming love and support she had already received from the community. As the piece concluded, the anchor encouraged viewers to visit Lily's lemonade stand or donate directly to her family. The response was immediate. Overnight, Lily's small-town story began to spread far beyond her neighborhood. Messages of encouragement flooded her parents' social media pages, and people from nearby towns started planning visits to her stand. The next morning, Lily was astonished to see a line of cars stretching down the block, all waiting to buy lemonade. "Mom, look!" Lily exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. So many people came. Her mother, fighting back tears, hugged her tightly. "They came for you, sweetheart, because you inspire them." As the day wore on, Lily worked tirelessly to serve her growing number of customers. Strangers from all walks of life stopped by to offer their support. Some brought homemade baked goods to sell alongside her lemonade, while others offered to volunteer their time to help her run the stand. One man even brought a portable shade canopy to keep her and the customers cool. Though she was physically exhausted by the end of the day, Lily felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Her little lemonade stand had become a beacon of hope and community, proving that even the smallest efforts could spark something extraordinary. Unbeknownst to Lily, her story was about to reach someone who would change her life forever. The morning sun shone brightly as the neighborhood buzzed with excitement. Lily's lemonade stand had become a local sensation, and cars lined the quiet suburban street. People from nearby towns had heard about the brave little girl fighting cancer, and they came not just for the lemonade but to be part of something meaningful. Amid this commotion, a lone figure strolled casually down the sidewalk, unnoticed at first. Clint Eastwood, the legendary actor and filmmaker, had come to town for a short, quiet getaway. Known for his rugged roles and commanding presence on screen, Clint preferred simplicity in his personal life. He enjoyed taking unassuming walks in unfamiliar towns, soaking in the sights, and connecting with ordinary people. This particular morning, he'd set out for a leisurely stroll, donning a beige button-up shirt, jeans, and a weathered cowboy hat that seemed to blend him into the everyday scenery. As Clint rounded the corner, he noticed the unusual activity ahead. A colorful lemonade stand, surrounded by a small crowd, caught his eye. Curious, he approached, weaving through parked cars and clusters of people chatting animatedly. When he finally reached the stand, Clint saw her. A small girl with a bright yellow dress, her cheeks flushed with effort but her smile unwavering. Her tiny hands clutched a plastic cup of lemonade as she handed it to a customer, thanking them with a polite nod. Her head was wrapped in a floral scarf, and her frail frame stood out amidst the lively crowd. Something about her resilience struck Clint deeply. He paused for a moment, watching, before stepping forward. "Hello, young lady," Clint said in his distinctive gravelly voice, tipping his hat slightly as he approached. "What have you got here?" Lily looked up, her eyes wide with surprise. Even at her age, she recognized the man standing before her. "You're Clint Eastwood," she blurted out, a mixture of awe and disbelief in her voice. Clint chuckled warmly. "That I am. But today, I'm just a thirsty man looking for some lemonade. Think you can help me out?" Lily nodded enthusiastically, pouring a cup of lemonade with careful precision. "It's 50 cents, she said, her voice shy but excited. Clint reached into his pocket and pulled out a crisp $20 bill, handing it to her. "Keep the change," he said with a wink. "Consider it a little extra for such a hard-working entrepreneur." "Thank you, Mr. Eastwood," Lily exclaimed, her face lighting up with joy. Clint took a sip of the lemonade, his expression thoughtful. "That's some good lemonade you've got here. Mind if I ask what inspired you to start this stand?" Lily hesitated for a moment, glancing at her mother, who stood nearby. Encouraged by her nod, Lily explained her story to Clint: the diagnosis, the medical bills, and her decision to raise money for her chemotherapy. She spoke with a mix of innocence and determination, her words heartfelt and unfiltered. As Clint listened, he felt a lump rise in his throat. He'd encountered many remarkable people in his life, but there was something uniquely moving about Lily's story. Her courage reminded him of the grit and resilience he'd always admired in the characters he portrayed on screen. "Well, Lily," Clint said, crouching down to meet her eye level, "you've got more strength than most grown-ups I know, and I've known plenty of tough people in my time." The crowd around them began to grow, whispers spreading as people realized who was standing at the lemonade stand. Phones came out, snapping pictures and recording videos, but Clint didn't seem to notice. His attention was entirely on Lily. "I'll tell you what," Clint continued, a spark of inspiration lighting up his eyes. "Why don't I come back tomorrow? I've got some friends who might like to meet you. And your lemonade." Lily tilted her head, confused but intrigued. "Friends? Like famous friends?" Clint grinned. "Something like that. You just keep doing what you're doing, and leave the rest to me." With that, Clint stood up, gave her a gentle pat on the shoulder, and turned to leave. The crowd parted to let him pass, and murmurs of excitement filled the air. Lily watched him go, clutching the $20 bill in her hand like a treasure. "Mom," she said, turning to her mother, "do you think he really meant it? Is he really coming back?" Her mother smiled, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "If there's one thing I've learned about Clint Eastwood, it's that he always means what he says." That night, Lily could hardly sleep. The encounter with Clint Eastwood felt like a dream, one she didn't want to wake up from. She replayed their conversation in her mind, wondering what he had planned and who these friends might be. Her excitement was tempered by a small voice of doubt. What if it was just a kind gesture, and he didn't come back? But deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary was about to happen. Unbeknownst to Lily and her family, Clint Eastwood had already set his plan in motion. He made a series of phone calls that evening, rallying his network of friends, colleagues, and industry contacts. He shared Lily's story with a heartfelt passion, convincing everyone he spoke to that this little girl's bravery deserved their support. By the time he hung up the phone, he had assembled a plan that would turn Lily's small lemonade stand into a beacon of hope far beyond their little neighborhood. The stage was set for something truly remarkable. Lily's journey, already filled with moments of courage and kindness, was about to take a turn she could never have imagined. And it all started with a simple glass of lemonade and a chance encounter with a Hollywood legend. The following morning, the quiet suburban street woke up to an unusual buzz of activity. Trucks unloaded equipment, people bustled about setting up tables and canopies, and a crew carefully arranged decorations along the sidewalks. Large banners with words like "Hope for Lily" and "Lemonade for a Cause" were strung across the entrance to the neighborhood. The sight drew curious neighbors from their homes, all murmuring in speculation. At the center of it all, Lily and her family stood near her now-famous lemonade stand, bewildered and excited. Her mother, Sarah, had no idea what to expect. Clint Eastwood's promise to return had filled her with hope, but the scale of what was unfolding before her eyes was beyond anything she'd imagined. Around 10 a.m., a familiar figure strode down the street, his cowboy hat shading his face. Clint Eastwood, true to his word, had returned, and this time he wasn't alone. Following behind him was a procession of cars and people, a mix of local supporters and recognizable Hollywood figures. Among them were actors, directors, musicians, and other influential names who had answered Clint's call. Each of them carried the same resolve: to support a little girl who had captured their hearts. "Good morning, Lily," Clint greeted her warmly as he approached. He crouched down to her level, smiling at her wide-eyed expression. "I told you I'd be back, didn't I?" Lily nodded, too stunned to speak. She clutched her mother's hand, her gaze darting between Clint and the growing crowd behind him. She recognized some faces from her favorite movies and shows, and the sight left her awestruck. "What's all this?" Sarah asked Clint, her voice a mix of amazement and curiosity. "This," Clint said, gesturing to the setup, "is a fundraiser. I called in a few favors and gathered some friends to help Lily raise the money she needs for her treatment, and then some." He turned to the crowd, addressing everyone with his signature gravelly voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming. Today isn't just about supporting Lily. It's about showing her that she's not alone in this fight. Every cup of lemonade sold today will go toward her medical bills and helping her family. Let's make this a day to remember." The crowd erupted into applause, their enthusiasm palpable. Volunteers began manning the lemonade stand, while others set up donation boxes and auction tables. Clint had orchestrated the event with precision, ensuring there was something for everyone. There was a silent auction featuring memorabilia donated by the celebrities in attendance, signed movie posters, props, and even instruments from famous musicians. Local vendors contributed food and crafts, with all proceeds going to Lily's cause. As the event gained momentum, more and more people arrived. News crews showed up, drawn by the buzz surrounding Clint Eastwood's involvement and the heartwarming story of a little girl fighting cancer. Reporters interviewed Lily and her family, capturing their emotions as they watched their community and complete strangers rally around them. Clint, ever the gentleman, stayed by Lily's side, helping her greet attendees and pour lemonade for customers. He made sure she wasn't overwhelmed, offering her words of encouragement whenever she seemed shy. His quiet presence gave her confidence, and soon, Lily was chatting with guests and even cracking jokes with some of the celebrities. Among the notable moments of the day was when a famous singer performed a surprise acoustic set, dedicating a song to Lily. The crowd swayed to the heartfelt tune, their eyes glistening with emotion. Another highlight was when a well-known director bid an astounding $50,000 on a signed movie script during the auction, much to the amazement of everyone present. Lily's lemonade stand itself became a symbol of hope, with lines stretching down the street. Children held cups of lemonade as they posed for pictures with celebrities, while adults donated generously, inspired by the spirit of the event. The stand, once a humble setup with a single sign, now stood as a beacon of community and kindness. Throughout the day, Clint took the time to speak to everyone who approached him. He shared stories about why he felt compelled to help Lily, emphasizing the importance of compassion and unity. His sincerity resonated with everyone, making the event feel less like a star-studded spectacle and more like a genuine effort to uplift a deserving family. By the afternoon, the fundraising total had exceeded all expectations. Donations poured in not just from attendees but also from people watching the live broadcast on social media. The event trended worldwide, with hashtags like #LemonadeForLily and #ClintForHope spreading across platforms. Messages of support flooded in from across the globe, with people sharing their own stories of resilience and offering prayers for Lily's recovery. As the day wound down, Clint gathered everyone for a final moment of reflection. Standing next to Lily, he addressed the crowd once more. "I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today," he began, his voice steady and heartfelt. "You've shown us all what it means to come together for a cause that truly matters. Lily, you've inspired more people than you'll ever know. Your courage and determination remind us all of what's really important." The crowd cheered, their applause echoing through the neighborhood. Lily, overwhelmed with gratitude, hugged Clint tightly, her small arms barely reaching around his frame. "Thank you, Mr. Eastwood," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "I'll never forget this." Clint smiled, his eyes soft with kindness. "Neither will I, sweetheart. You just keep fighting, and we'll all be here to cheer you on." As the event came to a close, Lily and her family stood surrounded by a sea of supporters, their hearts full of hope. What had started as a simple lemonade stand had turned into a life-changing moment, all thanks to a chance encounter with a Hollywood legend who saw the strength in a little girl and decided to make a difference. And as the sun set on the unforgettable day, one thing was certain. Lily's story was far from over, and her future now held a promise of brighter days ahead. The weeks following the unforgettable lemonade fundraiser were nothing short of miraculous for Lily and her family. The event, spearheaded by Clint Eastwood, had not only raised more than enough money for Lily's medical treatment, but had also captured the hearts of people worldwide. Donations continued to pour in through online campaigns, and the story of a little girl's courage and a Hollywood legend's kindness became an enduring symbol of hope. With the funds in place, Lily was soon admitted to one of the top pediatric oncology centers in the country. Her doctors, now equipped with the necessary resources, outlined an aggressive but promising treatment plan. Lily, always a fighter, faced every round of chemotherapy with bravery that astounded everyone around her. Clint, true to his word, stayed in touch with the family. He often called to check on Lily's progress, and whenever his schedule allowed, he visited her at the hospital. His visits brought a sense of calm and encouragement, not just to Lily but also to the other children undergoing treatment. Clint had a way of connecting with people, and his presence uplifted everyone in the room. One day, Clint arrived unannounced, carrying a large box. Inside were toys, books, and puzzles for the children in the oncology ward. He spent the afternoon reading stories and playing games, making every child feel special. For Lily, these visits were more than a distraction. They were a reminder that she wasn't fighting alone. Back in Lily's hometown, the impact of the fundraiser continued to ripple through the community. Inspired by Clint's actions, local businesses and organizations rallied together to create an annual event called Lemonade for Hope. The event not only raised funds for families battling pediatric cancer, but also became a platform for spreading awareness and fostering a sense of togetherness. Lily's story became a catalyst for change. People who had once been strangers now worked side by side to make a difference. Schools organized bake sales, sports teams dedicated games to the cause, and local artists donated their work for charity auctions. The once quiet suburban neighborhood transformed into a hub of compassion and generosity. Months passed, and Lily's health began to improve. The treatments, though grueling, were effective, and her doctors were optimistic about her prognosis. The light in her eyes returned, and her laughter once again filled the rooms she entered. Her strength and resilience inspired everyone who knew her story. During one of Clint's visits, he brought along a small camera crew. He had an idea to document Lily's journey, not for fame or recognition, but to show the world the power of hope and kindness. With the family's blessing, a short documentary was produced, chronicling the events from the lemonade stand to Lily's ongoing recovery. The film, titled Lily's Lemonade, premiered at a charity gala in Los Angeles, with all proceeds going toward pediatric cancer research. The documentary struck a chord with audiences, becoming a viral sensation. Messages of support and donations flooded in from across the globe, further solidifying the movement that Lily and Clint had unknowingly started. One sunny afternoon, as Lily played in her backyard, Clint arrived with yet another surprise. This time, he brought a group of people who had been deeply moved by her story, fellow cancer survivors. Each of them shared their own experiences, offering Lily and her family words of encouragement and wisdom. The meeting was emotional, filled with tears and laughter, as they celebrated the strength and perseverance that united them. Clint also presented Lily with a scrapbook, filled with letters and drawings from children around the world who had heard her story. "This," Clint said, placing the book in her hands, "is proof that you've made a difference in so many lives. Never forget how powerful your story is." Lily beamed, flipping through the pages filled with colorful drawings, heartfelt notes, and pictures of lemonade stands from all corners of the world. Her small act of selling lemonade had grown into a global movement, uniting people in a shared mission to spread hope. As Lily's health continued to improve, her family began to dream of a future filled with possibilities. Sarah, inspired by the outpouring of kindness they had received, started a non-profit organization dedicated to supporting families with children battling cancer. Named Lily's Light, the organization provided financial aid, emotional support, and resources to those in need. Clint became an honorary ambassador for the nonprofit, using his platform to amplify its reach. He attended fundraisers, gave speeches, and even appeared in public service announcements, always emphasizing the importance of community and compassion. For Lily, life slowly returned to a sense of normalcy. She went back to school, where her classmates welcomed her with open arms. Though she had missed a significant part of her childhood, she had gained something far greater, a sense of purpose and a deep appreciation for the power of kindness. Years later, as Lily stood on stage at a charity gala for pediatric cancer research, she shared her story with a room full of supporters. Now a young woman, she spoke with confidence and grace, her words carrying the weight of experience and hope. "Selling lemonade started as a way to help my family afford treatment," she said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "But it became so much more. It showed me that even the smallest acts of kindness can create ripples that reach far beyond what we can imagine. And it taught me that no one fights alone." As the audience rose to their feet in applause, Clint Eastwood, now retired from acting but still an advocate for causes close to his heart, watched proudly from the front row. The little girl he had once met at a lemonade stand had grown into a beacon of hope, inspiring countless others to believe in the power of community and compassion. If Lily's story has touched your heart, consider supporting organizations that help children battling cancer. Every small act of kindness can make a world of difference. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories of hope and humanity. Together, we can make the world a better place, one act of kindness at a time.